Afternoon and welcome to the second episode. I was trying to do my maths in my head then, that's dangerous. The second episode of Dazed and Confused this week, my 3 times a week live show where I chat to you about social media, about video, and how I can help you start creating content for free for your brand and for your business. Today we're going to talk about the fact that it is Bunsen burner day, or more to the point, that social media, no matter what any of the so-called experts, gurus, all those kind of people are saying, is not a science. It is not a science in any way, shape or form. There are elements that might be, but we'll come to that in just a moment. First things first, though, who am I to tell you anything? Well, I'm Simon Scholes. I'm the founder and creative director of Perception Studios, an award-winning visual marketing agency based in the UK, and we help brands and businesses create content that makes them stand out on social media. Now, it could be video, animation, aerial work, all sorts of stuff. But a few years ago, it became really obvious to me that not every brand and business, especially the ones I'd really love to work with, were in a position to spend money on a regular basis being consistent on this thing, the mobile phone. So if you couldn't afford to have content created, but you still wanted to be consistent, you needed a way of creating content. So I sat down and went through a process that I'd used myself, I'd used it with clients, I've spoken about it on stage, and I turned it into a book, and I called that book How to 9 Times Your Social Media. Former #1 on Amazon, which is really cool, and you can still go and download it now if you want to for like 99p in the bargain basement bin on the link in the section below. And so basically it's all about content planning through to podcasting and a whole bunch of stuff in between. That means you've got content to play with every single week for your brand and for your business. And most importantly of all, it's for free. It doesn't cost you anything to do this stuff. My second favorite 4-letter word in the entire world. But today, anyway, we are going to talk about the fact that it is Bunsen burner day, or more to the point, like I say, that social media is not a science. A quick hello to you if you're watching, whatever platforms you're watching on. We're on YouTube at the moment, LinkedIn, and on Facebook. Hello to Jamie, who's just joined us over on LinkedIn. Thank you very much for popping into this live. We're talking then about social media not being a science. So many so-called experts, and I hate doing that, but there are many of them out there who will sell you courses for thousands upon thousands of pounds, will try and make you believe social media is a science. And it truly, truly isn't. I had this back in the day when I worked in radio. I had a boss who tried to make radio a science, and it's not. What we were doing was providing great bespoke in-store radio services and music services for some fantastic brands, but actually choosing the music and all that kind of thing, it was more of a feel. And then actually the scheduling of the music was where the science came in. And it's kind of the same with social media. It's not the same as choosing music or anything like that, but there are elements of social media which are truly not science, but they are the key elements of making your social media work. And then there are elements of social media like paid for advertising or understanding who your avatar is, which require a little bit more knowledge, maybe a bit more backstory, maybe a bit more reading, maybe a little bit more science. But the elements that will really make your social media work do not require science. They require you to do 3 things. And we're going to talk about those 3 things today. So on Bunsen burner day, we're going to prove that social media is truly not a science, or at least it doesn't have to be if you're trying to grow organically on your social media channels. So the first thing I want you to discuss or think about is the fact that when it comes to growing on social media, one of the most, if not the most important thing on social media, especially for any brand, any business who are only trying to give organic value and not necessarily sell in every single post, is to be consistent. To post once in a blue moon means that your audience, your community, are only going to see your content once in a blue moon, the value that you've got to give once in a blue moon, the pain you remove once in a blue moon. And that probably also means they're going to forget you actually exist. How many times have you seen an advert coming up on TV, loads and loads, and you remember the brand, and then you stop seeing the TV advert, and then a few months later you go, oh, do you remember that advert? Oh, what was it for? I can't remember, but there was a bloke in it and he did this, that, and the other. And you can't remember the brand at all, but you can remember what was happening in it. And that's a bit like social media. If you're not present all the time, putting content out that is consistently going out for people to see, then people will go, oh, do you remember that image? That guy posted an image and it was a really great aerial photograph of his local area. And it showed this, that, and the other. Oh, I can't remember the name of the business, but the image was great. And everyone goes, oh, yeah, I remember the photo. Yeah. And they don't necessarily mention the brand. But if you are on social media all the time showing regular content and people are liking that and becoming part of your community, then they actually start to remember you and you become on the tip of their tongue every single time. But not just on the tip of the tongue. When they need to recall your business name, they can do that. And that's what consistency is really going to help you with, is for your audience to see your content on a regular basis. Because the thing about social media is that it is a cannibalized marketplace, whether we like it or not. There are millions and millions of people fighting for everybody else's attention all the time, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. But if you can be the one who's putting out creative and great value and great pain points consistently, then people are going to see that and be happy to remember that name. That recall is going to be there. So consistency is the first thing I would definitely 100% say that you need to be considering for your social media content. That's not a science part, is it? It's just being consistent, putting stuff out on a regular basis. The next thing is an element of patience. So many people want a result like that now, really quickly. So they post a photograph on Instagram and they expect that one photograph is going to not only bring them business, but also they're going to get thousands of likes and lots of people following them on Instagram. But social media doesn't work that way. The algorithms don't allow it to work that way. Even the organic channels like TikTok, Clubhouse, LinkedIn, they don't allow it to work that way. So no matter what you do, you're not going to post one piece of content unless it's picked up by somebody with a huge audience and become the next anybody at all on social media. It's just not going to happen. But if you are consistent and you put out content over a regular period of time, so that element of patience starts to play into the game, then you've got a much better chance of succeeding on social media. So rather than actually expecting everything to happen really fast, really quickly, have that element of patience that helps you understand that it could take the next 12, 24, 36 months for your audience to grow to a size where you want it to be. Now, if you're looking to grow to an area where you are actually looking to have a local awareness, that can happen much quicker. But if you're looking to go regional or country-wise or even global potentially, then you've got more of a chance of it having to take a longer period of time. So you need to see what your goals are and understand that as goals progress and become bigger and bigger and bigger, you need to wait longer and longer and longer for that goal to actually hit and you become the success that you want to become. Now, there are lots of other elements when it comes to posting content on social media, and that's where understanding who your avatar is, where your avatar's hanging out, all those kind of things come into play. That's where the science is. But these three things I'm going to talk about are not science. So consistency and patience are not science. Consistency is just you being willing to put the hard work in to create the content to put out on a consistent basis. The patience is just you understanding that you are not going to blow up and be the next Gary Vaynerchuk or Mel Robbins within the next 24 hours or even 7 days or even within the next 2 or 3 months. It's just not going to happen. The third thing, for organic growth, if you're doing paid for, it's different. But if you're going for organic growth on social media to grow a community of people who care about what it is that you've got to say, value is the third thing. So we've got consistency, patience, and value. If you can help remove a pain point for someone, even if it's in a generic way, you are helping them. They will become a fan of you. They will become part of your tribe, especially if you do it over and over and over again, if you are helping people on a regular basis. So I want you to think about what content within your industry could you give away for free. For example, with me, a lot of people say to me, "You're crazy, you give away all your advice, everything that you know for free." Yes, I do. But if you read between the lines, what I'm giving you away is generic advice. It's stuff a lot of people know, and it's stuff a lot of people will talk about. What I charge for is when you, as a firm, come to me and say, we do X, can you help us with that? And I can say, I can as a consultant rather than giving you free advice. So that's what you need to think about, is what can you give away for free that maybe you don't want to do personally as a job on a regular basis, or you don't mind giving away for free generically, in the hope that further down the line, those people will then come to you as an expert in your field and be happy to pay you for that one-to-one service that is specific to them as a brand, as a person, as a business, whatever it might be. So, for example, if you're an electrician, you don't want to get called out to change somebody's plug on a regular basis because, number one, it's not the jobs you want to do. Number two, you don't want to be seen as the guy who charges 60, 70, 80 quid as a call-out fee to change a plug, because that's ridiculous. So what do? You create some content that shows people how to change a plug, so that when you do get the phone call, you say, do you have email? I do. Brilliant. What I'll do is I'll send you a link to how to change the plug yourself. I don't want to be charging you money to come out and do this job for you. So I'd much rather you were able to do it yourself, and I'm happy to make that the situation. And that way you're giving away some of yourself for free, but what's it taken? Maybe half an hour for you to film something on a phone, half an hour to edit it, and 2 minutes to send that email to that person saying, here's the link to the video. It's private, but feel free to watch it as many times as you want, and it'll talk you through each and every single step of changing the plug on your lamp or on your TV. But then when they get that big job that might potentially come in, having a new RCD box put in because they're going to rent out their property, they'll come to you. Or they're buying an electric vehicle and they want an electric charging station. Well, I can't do that myself. I'll get somebody who knows what they're doing to come in and do it for me. And if you're qualified in that place, then they can get you to come in and do it. So it's thinking outside the box a little bit. What can you give for free as an expert in your industry? You're a voice of authority. What can you do to help people within your industry and people outside your industry who need your help, so that when those bigger jobs that come in that you really do want come in, you're able to charge for those and not the smaller things and look like you're a rip-off merchant? Okay, so those are the three things I want you to consider coming off the back end of this live, this recording if you're watching not live, or the podcast if you're listening to it this evening, is consistency, putting out regular content on all of your social media channels. You need to do a little bit of research, perhaps understand which channels need what amount of content each and every single day, but be consistent. Have an element of patience. Don't expect everything to happen really quickly. So many people will give up at the wrong time. They'll give up after 2 or 3 months of putting the effort in because they think they're going to be the next big thing straight away, and it just doesn't work that way. And the thing is, and this is always what's playing on the back of my mind, is I never know if tomorrow could have been the day that I had that great big piece of content that just put me stratospheric. So I always have that playing in the back of my mind. If I ever think, oh, you know what, I'm just going to give up, I've had enough. You just never know when that next piece of content could blow up. So make sure that you are always thinking that I've got to be patient. It's not going to happen quickly. And I've been doing these lives for the last 12 months, and the audience has kind of varied up and down, but I've been still consistent putting this content out. So I know where you're coming from when you're worried about the numbers. I say we shouldn't, but we always do. At some point in our mind, look at those numbers and go, it's not as good as I hoped. The next and final one, though, is the value. What value can you give to your audience? Do those three things: consistency, patience, and value, and you're going to be in a really strong place with your social media. And none of those are based around any form of science. Social media is not a science, and do not believe anybody who tries to sell you a course to truly believe that social media is a science. There are elements of social media that require some sort of analytical thinking, understanding who your avatar is, paying for particular adverts, understanding what the actual breakdown of those adverts might be. But actually, when it comes to the basics of social media, it is slow and steady wins the race. You just have to. In fact, that's just popped up. Great minds think alike. LinkedIn user, slow and steady wins the race. It truly does. Slow and steady will always win the race. So Thank you so much for watching today. If you are brand new to this content, it would be amazing if you could subscribe to my channel, and maybe even if you've got the time, share this content with your audience. Give it a thumbs up, share it to your community, and hopefully they can get some value from it as well. But you just need to do those 3 things. You don't have to turn everything into a science. It doesn't need to be a science for it to work for your brand and for your business. If you've got money, absolutely spend some of it on paid for content and paid for adverts. You will grow quicker than you do organically. But if you don't have the money, consistency, patience, and value, those are the 3 things you've got to worry about. Right, I will see you again on Friday. Good Friday. Not entirely sure what time, obviously, because it is a bank holiday, but I will be here at some point or another. Thank you so much for watching. If you have subscribed, awesome. Share this content as well, like I say, and I will see you then. But until then, as always, continue to stay safe and be awesome. Have a good one. I'll see you soon. Bye.